variety,
information.
Now, keep your arms and legs on the inside at all times.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I was helping a friend move some years ago, and there was a baby grand piano in the house. And we had to move it not only out of the house, but down the stairs, and then into the truck, and then up the stairs of the next place, and then into that house. And the question we all said was, what is our strategy going to be? Man, sometimes, I mean, in a situation like that, you know exactly what the strategy should, what the results of the strategy should be. That's maybe what I really should say here. But in this world of selling things and in business, strategy takes on an even harder. It's even harder to figure out the strategy behind business, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
I mean, figuring out how to get a piano out, that takes some thinking. Paul Leinwand is on the phone. He's written a book about strategy. It is titled Strategy That Works: How Winning Companies Close the Strategy to Execution Gap. And that is something anybody in business needs to pay attention to. Paul Leinwand has a list of credentials. He has... It says here he's a thought leader on strategy, growth, and capability building, the global managing director of the Capabilities-Driven Strategies and Growth Division with Strategy and PwC's Strategy Consulting Business. He's also an adjunct professor of strategy at Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. Strategy That Works is his book. Paul Leinwand. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Larry.
Where are you right now?
In California.
In California. Okay. Well, thank you for calling in. So, did you grow up out there, or did you move there?
No, I actually grew up in the New York area, and most of the time I live in beautiful Chicago, but out here for a little while right now.
No, okay. Yeah, it was the New York area where I had to move that piano, by the way.
Your analog of the piano was beautiful. I mean, I think too often we don't evaluate the capabilities that we must have to actually accomplish the things that we want. Are we strong enough? Do we have a plan? Do we have enough people there? What are the size of the doors? Do we need a dolly on the outside? There are all these questions that often companies don't ask about the direction they want to head. And it's great to get excited about a direction. It's great to realize you've got to move the piano. It's also really important while you're creating the strategy to think about, are you able to execute it? Is there a better strategy that you're going to be more successful at because you happen to have the capabilities within your company, within your organization to get it done?
Do you know what I wanted to ask you about this specifically is that when we're thinking of strategies regarding a company that sells products or sells, like in our case, we sell a service, we sell advertising. There's no tangible product. Sometimes the strategy requires us all saying, oh, who would be good for that? And we'll send a special person who we think is either easier to talk to or you know what I mean? It's like who could handle that element of the strategy better than somebody else.
Well, no question. And certainly we all have different capabilities as human beings, and there's different companies in an industry who happen to be really good at one particular thing, two particular things. I think the challenge most companies have today is they're struggling to grow. And one of the conventional wisdoms that kind of out there in the world is grow at any cost. You've got to grow. And the challenge with that is that you start looking for lots of opportunities independent of your point. Do we actually have the ability to create what we would describe as a right to win in that market? And what it does is sort of two things that are problematic. One, we don't always win in all these new endeavors. And the second thing is we take our eye off the ball of our core business, which can be really quite a challenge.
That's a really good point, by the way. Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, Robin.
Sometimes when businesses start up and everything, they have different financial needs as to the number of employees to hire, what kind of products they have, everything related to cost. But once the business starts going, the owner might see things where they need to cut the costs.
Right. Well, I mean, there's no question that cost is an important topic in management today, whether you're talking about small companies or large. I think what we learned in this book and from the companies in the book, companies like IKEA and Amazon and Apple and Danaher and Haier and many others, is that they're constantly thinking about their cost as sort of the precious investment. And I really like the point you make that sometimes small organizations are great at doing this because they just don't have a lot of cost to begin with, right? They've got to be really choiceful to make sure they're doing the right things. But sometimes large companies get distracted. They take out costs sometimes when they have to, as opposed to what we describe in the book. One of the 5 acts of unconventional leadership that we learned about is cutting costs to grow stronger. It's doing it constantly. It's IKEA at the beginning of every year almost setting its prices negative so that it forces them to think about what do they have to do to make sure they're spending in the right place. That's really, really important.
Talk about the importance of incorporating investment in your strategy, investment in resources, investment in advertising. The expenses that you know you need to do, but it's kind of like buying tires for your car. You hate to spend money on tires, but you know you have to. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to go anywhere.
Right. Well, I mean, tires might be sort of what we would describe as the table stakes of capability spending. One of the challenges I think companies really talk about is that, you know, they've got lots of functional areas. They've got functional heads that are all out there kind of improving the best practices of the organization. This is, again, another one of these sort of conventional wisdom. Be great, follow best practices, follow benchmarks. Well, the real important thing in the companies that we learn, what they talk about is actually, yes, there's some table stakes out there. You got to be good at the table stakes. You don't have to be great. You know, I need tires that work, but I might want to create an advantage in a few places. That's where I really want to have differentiated capabilities. And it's important to know the difference. Otherwise, your functional leaders or different parts of your company will wind up just trying to be great at everything. And we know what happens. It's hard to be great at everything. We wind up being sort of average at sort of everything that we try to do.
Do you know, forgive me for bringing politics into this, and I'm not doing it for the sake of bringing politics into this, but I think one of the reasons, whether you're for Trump or not, I think one of the reasons that people are supporting Trump is because they see him as a guy who has been able to strategize in the private work he has done, and they believe he'll be able to use that strategy skill in the public sector if he was elected. And so I think somebody who's got strategy skills, and the book I think will help you get them, but I think that's an important asset to a company as it would be to a country.
Well, you know, it's very interesting because we conducted a study on leaders, and what we found is that, you know, only 8% of leaders were seen at being effective at actually answering the fundamental questions of strategy and executing strategy, right? Some people could do one, some people could do the other, but very few could do both. And this is actually a very important opportunity for leaders right now to sort of understand that there is this gap between strategy and execution, but they should in many ways try to close that gap or take it away completely and start thinking about the strategy as what can I do every day, and start thinking about execution as how do I build the advantages that I want to? Your point around investment, every day I should be out there improving what I do.
So closing the deal would be the execution in our case, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, and closing the gap is really the trick in so many organizations to actually make sure you're working from a fundamental advantage you bring every single day to your customers. Are you doing something for them that no one else can do, and are you delivering well against that vision?
And that vision really affects the future productivity of the company, because you can't just rest on your laurels. You have to keep moving forward.
Well, and that's our 5th act that we learned from these companies, you know, shape your future. You know, these companies that are in this book, they don't really stay still. On the other hand, they don't completely reinvent themselves. They've got an identity. They understand their promise to the world. They understand what they need to do, but they've got to shape the future around that. They've got to get in front of customers. So rather than just listening to what they say, they have tremendous access. Think about Apple with the Genius Bar. Think about IKEA and their store managers visiting people's homes. What they're trying to do is really learn how we live our lives. The same thing can be true for a B2B business like Cemex, the cement company in Mexico, based out of Mexico, who really gets to know all of the city governments where it serves and understand what's happening. And by doing so, you sort of jump in front of where the customers are. That's a really important part of maintaining an identity, but actually changing along with it as well.
You were kind enough to send us some books, so I would like to give some away. The rest of us will have to go buy them. If you would like a copy of the book Strategy That Works, Call me right now. We'll put your name on it. It'll be waiting for you here at the radio station. The number is 622-9622. And the rest of us have to go buy it. So let me ask Paul, how do we do that? Do you have a website?
StrategyThatWorks.com.
Boy, that was easy. See, that works. So that's how you execute the sale of the book. You have an easy website to remember. Paul, thank you for being on. What part of California are you in?
I'm in the Bay Area at the moment.
Near San Francisco?
Right near San Francisco, exactly. Yeah, the weather's great out here. It's a really beautiful part of the country.
Well, one day. I'm familiar with L.A., but not San Francisco. One day I'd love to see that. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for being on the air, and come back anytime.
Thank you, Larry.
We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Lots of sunshine this Tuesday with a high of 79 to 83. Partly cloudy Tuesday night, lows in the mid-50s in a few inland spots, about 61 at the coast. Times of clouds and sunshine and warm for Wednesday, the high 77 to 81. Thursday, more the same. Partly sunny, high 77 to 81. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Oh my, how did another 365 days go by? If you're looking to make a change in 2016, get involved in the health scene. Get rid of the old and try something new, like acupuncture at A Better You. Pain in your joints or knees? Throw out your back every time you sneeze? Then acupuncture is sure to please. From pain to allergies, even the flu, come get acupuncture at A Better You. Call me, Dr. Erica Olstein with A Better You Healthcare today at 352-615-5566.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Cookies, 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 cookies. We go cookie eating cookies.
When you want something special and fun for any occasion, get cookies. King Cookie in the Paddock Mall in Ocala will make a delicious, fun-filled delight just for you. So next time you're in the mall, stop by King Cookie or call 352-237-2557. KingCookieOcala.com. Customized cookies, cakes, and more. King Cookie.
Eating cookies. We're so happy eating cookies. Cookies!
Hey Ocala, this is Kelly Hart, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine. Did you know last year Ocala Magazine won more awards in excellence than any other publication in Florida? And this year, Ocala Magazine was named Best Consumer Magazine in the state. Now you can join me every Friday at 10 a.m. on Ocala Magazine Radio, where we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life, right here on The Source. Ocala Magazine thanks you for making us number one. And remember, there is only one Ocala Magazine.
Celebrating a day for lovers of a popular snack and sandwich spread. That's coming up on This Land of Ours.
As beef and dairy producers, we are committed to producing the safest, highest quality food for folks here in the U.S. and around the world. This is Baxter Black, here to remind you that your Beef Quality Assurance Program plays a big role in leading the way to identifying the best practices, like cattle handling techniques, to produce safe, wholesome beef from pasture to plate. So learn more by visiting bqa.org. Paid for by the Beef Checkoff.
A toast to soil health.
More and more landowners and their farmers are celebrating healthy soil for good reason, because farmers who use soil health building practices like no-till and cover crops and who use diverse species and rotations report greater farm productivity, profitability, and resiliency. So here's to your soil's health. Contact your local USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service office today and learn how to unlock the secrets in your soil. This message brought to you by USDA and this radio station.
Today is National Peanut Butter Lovers Day. Whether you prefer it smooth, chunky, or natural, peanut butter is the perfect addition to any snack. It's also an excellent source of protein and healthy fats. It can also help reduce the risk of coronary heart disease. Although it's still unknown who really invented it, it's been around since the early 1900s, and today it's an $800 million industry. We're apparently so nuts for peanut butter that each American eats 3 pounds of peanut butter every year, and the average child will eat 1,500 PB&J sandwiches before he or she graduates high school. The National Peanut Butter Board estimates it takes about 540 peanuts to make a 12-ounce jar of peanut butter. That's approximately 45 peanuts per ounce of peanut butter. And if your family buys peanut butter in those large 40-ounce mega jars, each one of those jars takes a whopping 1,800 peanuts to make. I'm Kathy Isom, Southeast AgNet.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Most couples get ring tattoos after the wedding ceremony, not for the engagement, which is smart considering 25% of all engaged couples, they never make it to the altar. Taking breaks help boost our mood and makes us more creative and productive. When a woman feels threatened, she tends to touch the front of her neck or play with her necklace because it's an area that's physically vulnerable. For men, their towel is fidgeting with their tie.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
We are The Source, WOCA.
We all know the importance of good health, but we may not know the latest advances in medicine that are available to us. Monday at 9 a.m., Bern Paraiso will be our roving medical reporter to tell us about Seven Hill Gastroenterology PA and Dr. Reddy. We'll discuss screening, techniques, and more. So tune in and listen. This is more than news you can use. It's news that could save your life. That's Monday at 9:05 a.m.
The very best in quality is Captain T's Upholstery.
Hey, this is Dan. Let me ask you a few questions. Does your boat look better with the cover on?